I woke to a cacophony that sounded like a high school band practicing on my back lawn. It was barely past 7 a.m., and through the haze of sleep, I saw shadowy figures gliding past my bedroom window, graceful, unhurried, as if they owned the place. Rubbing my eyes, I leaned closer, squinting through the sheer curtains. White fabric flickered outside, not just one person, but a crowd, all dressed up, parading across my yard like it was a public park. I yanked the curtains open and froze. Rows of white chairs lined my grass, facing a makeshift wooden arch draped in cheap tulle and plastic flowers. A red carpet sliced through my lawn. 2 canopies fluttered in the breeze, shading a buffet table and a DJ booth. Balloons bobbed on strings. My stomach churned. I threw on a t-shirt, jeans, and sneakers, then bolted outside. The back door swung open, and a wave of perfume, hairspray, and grilled meat slammed into me. At least 20 strangers swarmed my yard, some hanging decorations, others hauling tables or fiddling with equipment. None of them belonged here. My voice cut through the chatter like a knife. What the hell is going on? Heads turned. A few looked startled, but most just ignored me. Then I saw her, Linda, short, broad-shouldered, her pale skin caked with powder, squeezed into a white bridesmaid dress that looked ready to burst. She spun around, wineglass in hand, her overplucked eyebrows arching in fake surprise. "Oh, you're awake," she said, as if we were old friends. "What is this?" I snapped, stepping onto the grass, my sneakers sinking into wet soil. I glanced down. Muddy tire tracks scarred my new sod. "Why are you on my property?" Another woman waddled over, a near clone of Linda, with greasy blonde hair and a scowl. "Megan." She puffed on a vape pen like it was her lifeline, rolling her eyes before speaking. "Relax. It's for Jessica's wedding," she said, waving toward the arch. "She's been through a lot." Linda chimed in. "The park was gross dust, ants, bugs. So we moved it here." I glared. "You broke into my yard. You smashed the lock on my gate." A wiry man in a black shirt, clutching a clipboard, strutted over like he owned my lawn. "Hi, I'm the planner. Setup's done in an hour. Ceremony's at 10. Keep your pets incidino accidents during the vows." I stared, then glanced at my dog, Max, tied to a stake by the shed, looking as pissed as I felt. "This is private property," I said louder. "You have no permission." Linda waved me off. "You weren't using it. Jessica needed somewhere special." "It's perfect." Megan smirked, exhaling a cloud of vapor. "We'll be gone by sundown." "Don't make this about you." Their smugness hit like a punch. A quiet assumption I'd back down because I seemed like the type. I took a deep breath and walked inside before I did something reckless. In the kitchen, I poured yesterday's cold coffee and stared out the window. The planner directed guys in cargo shorts to string fairy lights along my fence. Someone hammered a stake into my irrigation marker. 2 flower girls trampled my vegetable patch, giggling, one yanking a sprinkler head clean out. I gripped my phone and called the non-emergency police line. "Someone's using my backyard for a wedding without permission. They broke my gate." A pause. "Do you know them?" the officer asked. "I've seen them around the neighborhood, but I didn't invite them." Another pause. "If there's no immediate threat, it's a civil matter. You'd need to pursue legal action. We can send someone for a report, but we can't remove them without a crime." I hung up, fist clenched. Back at the door, I peeked through the side window. Jessica, the bride, stepped out of a white SUV, flanked by Linda and Megan like she was royalty. Tall, tanned, her dress a pile of tulle, she laughed sharply, her voice nasal. "This is perfect," she squealed. "Better than the venue." Linda nodded. "Ignore the owner. He's weird. Probably lonely." They cackled. My jaw tightened. It wasn't just the trespassing, it was the disregard. I'd spent weeks fixing this yard. New grass, drainage, sprinklers, a koi pond. Now it was trashed by people who didn't even ask. I checked on Max, still tied up, miserable. I brought him inside, his muddy paws smearing the tiles. I didn't care. Later, I tried Jessica's dad, who showed up in a too-tight suit and sunglasses screaming midlife crisis. He chuckled when I said they had no permission. "You're lucky. They made your lawn beautiful. Embrace it." They all thought I'd roll over. Guests arrived, SUVs blocking my driveway. The caterers plugged into my outdoor outlet, draining power. Someone tied ribbon around my mailbox. My pool heater's thermostat was tweaked. I watched, helpless, rage simmering. Then a caterer muttered to another near the fence. We were going to use the park, but Linda said this guy wouldn't fight. Total pushover. Pushover. That flipped a switch. I didn't yell. I walked inside, sat down, and thought. In the garage, I checked the sprinkler control box. The wires were cut probably to keep decorations dry. I smiled. They didn't know about the plumbing under the yard, drainage tanks, hoses, a backup line tied to the compost system, uncapped, reeking of manure, rotten plants, and stagnant water. They thought I'd do nothing. They were wrong. I whispered to Max, let's make this unforgettable. All day, I paced, numb with fury, peeking through blinds. A mariachi band. A cotton candy machine. A guy on stilts dressed as Cupid teetering near my pond. I wanted to burn it all down but stayed calm to calm. I grabbed my phone and recorded. The broken gate, ruined garden, cut wires, tire tracks. I filmed Linda barking orders, wine bottle in hand, Megan stuffing her face with skewers, Jessica screaming at a flower girl over pink roses. My phone brimmed with evidence, but I wasn't going to court. I wanted something sharper. At sundown, four drunk guests stumbled into my vegetable garden. One pissed on my tomatoes while another filmed, laughing, so organic. My teeth ground so hard my jaw ached. I couldn't wait. It had to be now. At midnight, the party quieted. Jessica was in an RV in my driveway, yelling about the DJ's playlist. Linda and Megan passed out on lawn chairs, draped in chiffon like melted marshmallows. I crept outside. The sprinkler wires were cut, but I had a manual valve tied to underground tanks and a diverter pipe linked to the compost reservoir foul, reeking sludge. I rerouted the pressure, coiled hoses under their fake grass carpets, and set a Wi-Fi timer for 9:55 a.m., labeled Wedding Crash. I stood in the dark, muddy, grinning. This wasn't revenge, it was art. Next morning, I sipped coffee, watching the chaos unfold. Hairdressers, photographers, caterers swarmed. Linda and Megan, back in their tight dresses, faces caked with makeup, wore sunglasses despite the dim light. The arch was redecorated, the aisle petal-strewn, chairs aligned. Guests arrived in pastel suits and pricey shoes. A violinist played sappy music. At 9:53, Jessica emerged from the RV, her gown glittering, veil trailing. She smiled for cameras. Linda and Megan waddled beside her, sweating. The crowd stood. The music shifted. Jessica stepped forward. I tapped my phone. Sprinklers erupted, not water, but rancid brown sludge, blasting from nozzles and hoses. Screams pierced the air. Jessica froze, her dress soaked, turning brown. Linda and Megan were drenched, makeup streaming like wax. Guests scrambled, chairs toppled, the violinist ditched her instrument. An old man slipped, landing in mud. The DJ's speakers sparked. Jessica shrieked, "What is this?" Linda gagged, spitting out sludge. Megan fell, dress hiked up, shoe floating toward the pond. I stepped outside, clean, holding my phone. Smile, you're on trespass cam. Jessica, filth-streaked, mascara dripping, screamed, "You psycho. You did this." I nodded. "No, you did. I just helped karma." Megan slipped again. A kid gagged. A caterer vaulted the fence. The stench was unbearable. A drone overhead filmed it all, the ruined arch, fleeing guests, my lawn a swamp. By noon, I posted a clip online. By 2, it had 50,000 views. Megan's fall was a meme. I sent footage to the HOA, my insurance, and a lawyer friend. I printed invoices for the lawn, sprinklers, garden, power, and Max's vet bill $12,000 total. Linda was on the phone, pacing, furious, pointing at me. Megan, wringing out her dress, glared. I knew this wasn't over. They stormed my deck, dripping sludge. Linda shrieked, "You ruined her wedding, you garbage." Megan jabbed a finger. "We have lawyers." I didn't flinch. "You trespassed, destroyed my property, and you're mad you got wet?" Linda's face twisted. "You're a bitter creep who couldn't stand her happiness." Megan spat. "We'll tell everyone. No one deals with a psycho who sprays sewage on brides." I smirked. "Like the 1.2 million who've seen the video?" Captioned, "When Karens hijack your yard and you flush their dreams." They froze. Linda lunged, slipped, and crashed into the railing. Megan toppled into mud. I locked the door as they pounded, shouting threats. They gave up, trudging off. Jessica's SUV sped away, splashing my mailbox. By evening, I sat with Max, sipping a beer, watching the sunset. The lawn was a wreck, but it felt like a battlefield one. News channels ran swamp wedding scandal. Linda's face plant and Megan's crawl went viral. Their tearful Instagram live Linda whining about IBS, Megan claiming PTS flopped. Comments roasted them. Steal a yard, get karma. Jessica's parents filed a police report, but my footage showed I never touched anyone. Their lawyer demanded damages. I sent my $12,000 bill, with their social media posts bragging about using my lawn. The HOA, where Linda and Megan had ruled, turned on them. Neighbors reported their past tyranny, fining lemonade stands, banning laundry. They were voted out, fined for the wedding trash. They tried rebranding Linda with wedding tip videos, Megan ranting about cancel culture. Both flopped. One day, I saw Linda parked down the street, watching my house. I didn't wave. The lawn recovered with new sod. I hosted a barbecue, projecting the wedding video on a sheet. Friends cheered, toasting to justice, wet and stinking. But unease lingered. A week later, a letter Aravedno return address. Inside, a photo of me on my deck, taken from afar, with "still watching" scrawled in red. I smiled. They thought it was over. I'd already set new traps.